Just like that.
Have you ever wondered why this happens?
It's because of water pollution. But first, let's go back to the basics.
There are two distinct ways pollution can originate from: point source and non-point sources. Point source is a specific location where pollution can come from, such as a factory.
Although, for non-point source, an area produces pollution, but the exact point of pollution cannot be determined. For example, in a suburban area, everyone is contributing. Here are some common indicators of pollution.
Some pollutants include heavy metals, not that kind of heavy metal, such as lead, arsenic, and mercury. Lead can get into the water supply by lead pipes created by Homo sapiens. You know, you, the person sitting next to you, and even your teacher. Most pipes that are aligned with lead have been replaced, although some remain, like the ones in Flint, Michigan.
Hey, that's why people are dying!
This can cause brain, nerve, and kidney damage. It's also toxic to fish and can reduce photosynthesis. A way to prevent this is to get rid of lead pipes.
Arsenic is another heavy metal, not that kind of heavy metal, that gets into the water supply and dissolves rock and wood preservatives. Arsenic can cause cancer and harm the nervous system. It prohibits the growth and reproduction of aquatic organisms. A treatment plan for arsenic is to filter it from the water.
The last heavy metal for the last time, not that heavy metal. Pollutant is mercury. Burning coal and garbage. Incarceration?
Wait, what?
I mean incineration. Can lead to mercury in the water supply. Then wetland and lake bacteria have the ability to convert mercury into methylmercury, which is really bad. Mercury can damage the central nervous system, especially in children and embryos. We can stop this by reducing mercury emissions from things like coal burning and power plants. Burning coal increases acid deposition, mostly from acid rain or snow, caused by the release of sulfur.
While there are no direct effects to humans, lower pH levels in water can directly kill aquatic organisms. There's also acidic pollution caused by acid mine drainage. There are also many other types of chemicals that may get into the water supply, such as synthetic compounds, like pesticides.
Pharmaceuticals and hormones are also problematic when in the water supply. These can include percolates, PCBs, and PBDEs. Percolates can be particularly harmful to the environment and are a group of harmful chemicals used for rocket
Take off in T-minus 10,
9,
8,
7,
6,
5,
4,
3,
2,
1.
blast off!
Sometimes when military rockets are tested, they can contaminate the soil and excess chemicals can leach into the groundwater. These chemicals are toxic to earthworms and can harm amphibians and fish. Percolates can affect the thyroid gland and reduce the production of hormones necessary for the human body to function. So in order to prevent these from causing harm, we safely contain them and properly dispose of them.
PCBs are a group of industrial compounds used to manufacture plastics. The chemicals can enter the water supply when these companies dump them into bodies of water. They have been linked to cancer and developmental effects to embryos. They can build up over time through the food chain and to fish and animals that can be lethal. The production of PCBs has been halted because of legal measures in the US.
PBDEs are flame retardants. They get into the water supply through manufacture and commercial use and can cause brain damage in children. They can be found in aquatic ecosystems, and they are banned by several states and countries.
Oil can enter water supplies through natural and human sources. Oil pollution is caused by oil spills, which occur because of leaks in underwater pipes and oil tankers. Two of the biggest oil spills were the Exxon Valdez tanker and the Deepwater Horizon. Exxon Valdez spilled nearly 11 million gallons of oil into the ocean. Deepwater Horizon was an event in which BP leaked nearly 206 million gallons of oil into the Gulf of Mexico, which contaminated beaches, wildlife, and estuaries.
Oil pollution is detrimental to wildlife because it destroys their habitats. It also negatively impacts humans because of our food source is reduced. We can combat oil spills and their negative effects by using containment booms which trap the oil on the surface so people can suck the oil off the surface, and by using chemicals they break up the oil before it causes problems. They also use genetically engineered bacteria.
Non-chemical water pollutant is a solid waste such as coal ash and garbage. When coal ash is dumped into abandoned mines, it can contaminate groundwater. When the coal ash contaminates this water, it is dangerous because it can contain harmful chemicals that cause cancer or harm to the nervous system. Medical waste such as hypodermic needles can pose a threat to people at the beach. Garbage poses ecological risks to marine organisms as a physical threat. For example, plastic rings from sodas can strangle animals. Solutions to solid waste management are creating laws against dumping and increasing recycling.
And stop littering. Sediment pollution is the surplus of sediments and waterways. Humans increase sedimentation because of the construction of buildings and the plowing of agriculture, which both increases erosion. Increased sedimentation reduces sunlight filtration in the water, which reduces the productivity of aquatic plants and algae. Sediments can also clog the gills of fish, which makes it difficult for them to obtain oxygen. This creates a disproportionate amount of nutrients in the water. Sedimentation can also be reduced by using no-till agriculture, which reduces the erosion.
Thermal pollution is when human activities cause a change of temperature in natural water bodies. The most common source of thermal pollution is when industry removes cold water from a natural supply, uses it to absorb heat in industrial processes, and releases it back into the environment. This doesn't affect humans but harms natural ecosystems. It can cause thermal shock, which is when organisms die due to a drastic change of temperature. Construction of cooling towers can help decrease it. Cooling towers rely on the power of evaporation to reduce the temperature of water, and then release the cooled water back into the ecosystem.
Noise emitted from ships and submarines can interfere with animal communication. This can negatively affect whales, which rely on low-frequency communication for long-distance travel. Mapping noise throughout different parts of the ocean can help prevent this issue, as well as laws and quieter propellers on ships.
There are various laws and acts in place to prevent some of the pollution issues we have talked about. The Clean Water Act, passed in 1972, protects fish, shellfish, wildlife, and recreation in and on the water by restoring the chemical, physical, and biological properties of surface waters. The Safe Drinking Water Act, originally passed in 1974, sets the national standards for safe drinking water. The first legislation passed was the Federal Water Pollution Control Act of 1940.
What can you do? 1. Find out where your drinking water comes from. Is it groundwater or surface water? 2. Test the water. You can get a kit from the EPA. 3. You can filter the water by boiling it, which gets rid of the bacteria, but not heavy metals, so be careful. 4. Use cold water from your faucet. 5. Buy a faucet filter which removes the chlorine, pesticides, and lead. Get a Carafe filter that removes lead and chlorine.
You can protect water safety in many ways. 1. Don't pour grease down the drain. 2. Take toxic products and hazardous waste to a waste disposal facility. 3. Use dish soap that doesn't include phosphates. 4. Don't pour unused cleaners down the drain. 5. Divert rain spouts onto grasses and landscapes. 6. Buy non-toxic products. 7. Clean up after your pets. 8. Choose your fertilizer wisely.
Biochemical oxygen demand, or BOD, is the amount of oxygen that a body of water uses in a specific amount of time at a specific temperature. This is important to know because a higher BOD can indicate that a water body is more polluted by wastewater. The biggest problem with BOD is nutrient release, or in sciencey terms, eutrophication. This is a phenomena in which a body of water becomes rich with nutrients, causing an increase in algae growth. This is problematic because it can create a dead zone, where things are dead. This happens because all of the oxygen is consumed by decomposition of algae and other organisms.
So in conclusion, This information is valuable to us because some people don't have the privilege of having clean drinking water as we do. We must be better aware of our privilege and learn to protect and take care of our water.
Also, as water becomes more scarce, this knowledge will be at the forefront during your lifetime.